the thought that devoured a soul. Long ago, in the heart of a dense forest far from the noise of human life, there lived a monk. Not a monk in the ceremonial sense, but a man who had truly renounced the world, not out of sorrow or failure, but because he had found something deeper: peace. His home was a simple cave. No doors, no windows, just stone walls and silence. But it was here, in this quiet solitude, that he meditated daily, helping weary travelers, lost animals, and those burdened with invisible pain. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the trees, painting the forest in golden hues, the monk sat in quiet reflection near his cave's entrance. A crow flew overhead, its wings slicing the sky, and from its beak, something small and soft slipped, tumbling through the air. It landed with a weak thud on the forest floor. It was a tiny mouse, bruised, trembling, barely alive. The monk, moved by compassion, cupped it gently in his hands. He brought it inside, placed it on a leaf bed, and fed it a few grains. He whispered softly, not with words, but with kindness. And from that moment, the mouse stayed with him. Days passed, then weeks. The mouse grew strong, lively, and full of joy. It would scurry around the cave while the monk meditated, occasionally climbing onto his shoulder, curling up in the folds of his robe. But one morning, a cat from the forest caught sight of the plump little creature. It lunged, and the mouse barely escaped, darting into the cave, hiding beneath the monk's robe, heart pounding. The monk looked down at the trembling being. "You will always be hunted," he thought, "unless you change." So, using the spiritual energy he had nurtured for years, he transformed the mouse into a cat. For a while, the cat roamed the forest confidently. No more fear, no more hiding. But peace is fleeting when fear lives in the shadows. A wild dog soon appeared, and the cat, terrified once again, returned to Monk, seeking safety. And so, the monk turned the cat into a dog. The dog enjoyed its new power. Barking loudly, it chased off threats. Until, of course, a tiger came. And once more, the trembling creature returned to the cave. This time, the monk turned into a tiger, a majestic beast feared and revered by all. The tiger ruled the forest. Animals fled at his roar. He was strong, powerful, invincible, or so he thought. One day, a hunter appeared. The crack of a gun shattered the silence. The mighty tiger, the king of the forest, ran, not with pride but with desperation. And again, he sought refuge in the monk's cave. Realizing that even tigers were not safe from man, the monk whispered a final chant and transformed him into a human being. Now the mouse, who had once trembled in the talons of Crow, stood upright, broad-shouldered, intelligent, admired. He blended into a nearby village, charming, strong, confident. He built friendships, earned respect, and dreamed of building a life, marriage, family, laughter. But something else crept in: fear. What if the monk tells someone I was once a mouse? He thought. What if people laugh, mock, avoid me? That single thought was like a crack in glass. It spread. Soon it became paranoia. He must be silenced. The man decided. Only then will I be truly free. One moonless night, he crept toward the cave, knife in hand. His steps were silent, but his mind screamed. He wasn't walking toward the monk. He was walking toward his own end. Inside the cave, the monk sat calmly, eyes closed. Without opening them, he spoke. "So it has come to this." The man froze. "I gave you power, form, dignity, but I could never give you peace. Because peace cannot be gifted, it must be found within." He raised his hand, whispered a chant, and in a blink, the man was no longer a man. A tiny mouse squeaked in fear and darted away, never to return. The moral: in our lives, we often chase strength, status, and transformation, believing that by changing our outer form, we'll finally be safe, respected, complete. But the truth is simple. If you don't master your mind will master you. The mouse received everything: strength, power, humanity. But he failed to transform the one thing that truly mattered: his thoughts. And just like him, we too are haunted not by lions or hunters, but by the silent whispers in our mind: jealousy, fear, ego. One thought, just one, can build a life or destroy it. So be watchful. Tend to your thoughts like a garden, because what grows in your mind shapes your world.